I'm gonna let it all burn until there's nothing left. Let it all burn until the bitter end. Let it all burn. Well, I don't see how you could save this. It didn't come as a surprise. You're hiding shadows like you're famous, but you made your bed and now it's time to lie. And I'm gonna make it hurt when I take my turn. Gonna let it all burn until there's nothing left. Let it all burn until the bitter end. Let it all burn for what you've done and said. Let it all burn. Let it all. I'm gonna let it all burn. You've passed the point of no return as ashes fall on tortured earth. Don't look back, there's nowhere left to turn. You crossed the line, wrote your curse. The match has struck, your sentence served, and no white flag will change my final word. I'm gonna let it all burn. Let it all burn. Let it all burn until there's nothing left. Let it all burn until the bitter end. Let it all burn.
Happy Sippin' Saturday. How's it going, everybody? This is Chris and Mark with the NWA Exchange Podcast, the only podcast you need to watch to know everything about Bella Vista and beyond. That's right, we're back again. Can't keep us down. Got some stuff to talk about, but nothing major. Let's get into it. What's going on, buddy?
It's every day blends into one, man, right?
It is, man. This has been a marathon week.
Yep, right up to the runoff election, man.
Yeah.
So
hey.
We're getting down the home stretch finally. Whew.
I know. T-minus 3 days, man.
Yeah. I can just imagine what these Randy's going through, trying to squeeze everything out at the last second and make sure he didn't miss anything and touch every base, you know?
Yeah.
So
this is, I guess this would be the NWA Exchange first ever Sippin' Saturday. Sippin' Saturday is going to be our, we're going to sip our beverage of choice. So I am having the Corona Extra. What do you have, sir?
Holiday rum and Ron Lave, the low end rum. Just a a pro tip: if you're drinking anything with eggnog, it doesn't matter. You don't need high-end rum. So my suggestion is the Ron Lave $7 a quart rum. It takes off rust, but it don't matter when you blend it.
It's also good for cleaning them rusty tools and stuff. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. It does wonders on the liver, man. It'll flush it right out. Well, I guess we can recap some of the stuff that we've seen this week and talked about this week briefly if you want. I think tonight's going to be more of a Q&A. If anybody has questions for us, feel free to throw them in the chat. Or if you want to call in and talk, we've got a number you can call in. That's right, 479-202-4053. Not going to lie, we probably will limit some of these calls if they go off the rails on time-wise. But like I said, feel free to throw anything in the chat, and we will look at answering it while we're talking. So, Mark, we had the issues on Tuesday's kickoff of the election. We confirmed that with the Election Commission. Obviously, they got that squared away. The message of the week and the message of this runoff is check your ballots.
Yeah.
Check, and double check, and triple check, and verify, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Ensure that your voice counts whenever you show up to the poll to cast your vote. The other topics were, I guess, bad actors in Bella Vista, right? Bad actors in community in general, right?
Right.
And then there was some breaking news regarding Twitter, the Twitter files.
Yeah, we can hit on that, or we can hit on the communication or lack of communication.
Lack of communication. I do have an update to our household, though. So we have that Beagle Basset pup that we got. I guess.
Oh, I thought you were going to say there was a kid on the way or something.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't do it. Don't you do that. All right. No. So we had the pup, and she's our only pup, and sometimes she gets lonely, and we figured it's time for her to get a companion. So there was in the newspaper there was an article about a pup over there called Bailey. Wife went up to the animal shelter, and there was another pup up there called Patty. Patty is the one that she went with, and so she brought Patty home. Got some pictures of Patty if you guys are interested. She is a Labrador and a Terrier mix, and sweet little pup, man. Very good with the kid, very good with the other dog. Not really aggressive towards the cat. Just overall a cute little pup, very sweet.
Yeah.
And she seems to be getting along all right. Tonight's her first night at the house. She's, pretty mild mannered, and her and Daisy are just getting along, playing in the leaf pile over there. And
yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, that's cool that you did that, because I know the animal shelter, and they posted, I think it was yesterday, that they have an influx of dogs over there.
They are 100% full, man. They have no more room. And they did adopt Bailey today as well. So Bailey and Patty were adopted out to families today. So they have a place to go for Christmas, doggy Christmas anyway.
That's awesome.
So, but yeah, she's a sweet pup. And they said that black dogs really, they don't get adopted as much. So huge shout out to the Bella Vista Animal Shelter for caring for these animals and helping facilitate a home.
Right.
Anytime I get an opportunity to donate to the Bella Vista Animal Shelters, like when you're at HARP, sometimes they have those little buckets out. I always donate, man. I'll throw my change in there.
Yeah.
But they do a great thing.
Cause.
Back in the day when we were doing beard competitions, we donated I think it was around a $600 check, maybe even more than that, to them. Just for a beard and mustache club. What was it called? We did a poker run, a motorcycle poker run, and the proceeds from that, it was a 50-50 poker run, so 50% went to the charity of our choice, which we chose the Bella Vista Animal Shelter, and then another person won the money. Hey, thanks for the like, Murray, for Bella Vista Mayor. We appreciate the likes and the support, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope, you know what? I don't think it's a no-kill animal shelter, right? So,
right.
I hope.
Thanks for the like, Donna Hutchinson.
Thank you, Donna. I hope they find homes, but I want to make sure people are capable of handling them so that they don't revert back out in the street. I see a lot of issues happening now
Tanya
with
Murray, thank you
dogs.
for the like as well.
Thanks,
Man, with
Tanya.
the likes are coming in. I'm liking the likes, man.
There's some love there, man. So I hope they all get adopted before Christmas. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they do an awesome job. And I told you, I think it was like about a month and a half ago, Quinn and I found a dog over in Branchwood. We had just finished up playing pickleball, and he was out in the middle of the street following us in the car. So I just popped him in the car and we brought him down to the Bella Vista Animal Shelter. It was after hours. It was probably about 7:00. I called the non-emergency number, and one of the Bella Vista police met me down there, and they put him in a holding place. It had water and bedding and what have you. So, we're just worried he's going to get hit. You know what I mean? He kept on bolting across the road and what have you. So,
yeah.
They do a great job, man.
They do.
That's
and
cool.
I mean, like, we know our dog, I mean, we know was a little lonely out there, and that's why she gets several walks a day and gets the attention, and the kid goes out and plays with her. But we're like, it's time for her to have a companion. My wife saw the dog in the paper, and she's like, "Oh, look at this." She's been bugging me too, and so I was just like, you know what? Yes, yeah. If you want a dog, if you want another dog, I'm fine with it. I just don't want a hyper dog, and so basically, was this Busy Minds Academy has liked the streams. Thank you, Busy Minds Academy. Woo, they keep on coming in. That's helping out. I appreciate it because it does help us out. It helps out the algorithm. It helps keep us in people's feeds. And that's what's important when we're trying to disseminate information to the general public. But yeah, she came home with her, and she seems to be doing well. I did make it out this afternoon. I had to go out to Nasty's Float Shop. I visited with Rob. We have the Operation Santa's Little Helper going on to refresh Gunner's board with basically all new hardware. It's going to look like a brand new board. He doesn't know it's his board. So he thought it's been a loaner from the shop,
Oh yeah,
and
I forgot.
he started tuning into like, hey, this has got to be my board, right? And I said, Rob, I need you to send me a text message and tell me that. Thanks, Randy, again. That you need the board back, right? And so he sends me this like, I need the board back. I got several rentals and I got some pop-up birthday parties and stuff. And so I showed Gunner the text. And so now Gunner's board's down there and Rob's getting it all, new rail guards, new fender, new grip tape, the whole 9 yards. So it's like Operation Secret Santa is now 100% in effect. So he has no clue that he's getting that for Christmas.
How are the boys doing down there with the store? Is it doing
They're
good?
doing good, man. He just got in a boatload of One Wheel GT Enduro tires, which is the new Float Life Enduro tire. Everybody's been waiting for them. Got 6 of them in, man. And these things are probably going to be gone before the middle of next week, man. I mean, shop's doing really well.
I know I wanted to tell you is I was watching some football games. I think, what was the other, something else, another sporting event. And the One Wheel advertisements started coming up.
Yeah.
First time I've seen them in a while. There's a lot of them too, man.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's starting to push its way out there, and more people are becoming aware of it. So
yeah, and then they headed over to Snowbird afterwards, and so I drove over there to drop off Sarge, my board, and so that Thomas could try to compete with the times on there. And I saw some of that new art out there. It's pretty interesting looking. It's pretty. And I would encourage everybody to get out to that Snowbird Trail and walk it. It's a 1.5 mile loop. It's off of McNelly Road, I believe it's called, and it's a pretty cool loop, and it's nice. I mean, it's not too challenging to walk. It's a pretty flat surface, and with the new art installation, it's just going to make it even cooler. So happy to have seen everybody. They did when they dropped off the board, they did drop off a 360 camera, and they plan on uploading GoPro footage. So I will be able to put together some new video packages for the show and for the shop. And so hopefully I'll have that done before tomorrow's live feed. So, but yeah, a little update on the shop and stuff.
Awesome.
So, I guess another thing that came up today was my cousin was out golfing, and he hit me up about this nasty rumor about one of our mayoral candidates getting donated $70,000. $70,000. I was like, dude, really? And you did you believe any of that? He's like, well, I told the guy I got to call my cousin because he runs a podcast and he's pretty in tune with this stuff. But he goes, I'm not going to make, I don't believe it. He would have said something if that was the case. And so I filled him in on the rumor and where the rumor has been originating from, the group of people, and really laid it out in kind of context like we did on last night's live of what you can expect if that one individual gets into the mayor, which is really no change.
Right. It goes back to communication, Chris.
It always goes back to communication.
That's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, man.
Yeah. Well,
it reminds me of those. It reminds me of those throwback. What were those throwback movies?
The Kung Fu, man. Everybody was Kung Fu fighting, man. Kung Fu Friday nights, right?
Yeah. This is how the communication is. As a
Are you saying that there's
now,
not effective communication going on right now? It's like a Kung Fu movie. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Chop sucky bad Kung Fu dubs. Here we go.
Very strange.
Watch, man.
He's really most peculiar. Stop that. It's none of your business. Have a nice trip.
The lips keep moving.
Enough.
People need to slow down, man, and explain themselves. And
Damn it, you dare fight with
focus.
officials? Get him!
You kicked my brother.
Focus like a ninja, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, the communication. I am kind of, like I said, I'm still bummed that the Election Commission didn't put out a public statement because over on the Nextdoor app, somebody, Donna had reinforced that, everybody basically just check your ballots. Somebody questioned that, said, fact check it, please. I did chime in on that stream and said that NWA Exchange host Mark called the commission and verified that. So the message is clear. Check your ballot. Verify, I don't know how many times we can say that. And if you hear somebody telling blatant lies about a candidate, call them out on it. Point blank.
Yeah, it's the right thing to do at the end of the day, to just keep on perpetuating a lie, man. It doesn't do anybody any good, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, and like I said, we I don't want to go too deep in the woods of what we did last night. Last night was kind of, I'm not going to lie, I was a little emotionally charged on that person. You're trying to speak logic and rationale for your stance, and they just sit there and try to play games with you. And and then on top of it, when you're confused about this whole subject, your facts are not right. For some reason that turns into, well, this is a personal attack, and we know what I said last night, so I won't say it again tonight. Right. But so that whatever. Yep.
Yeah, it comes down to deflecting and not owning it, right? So
yeah,
we've been there, we've seen that. It is what it is, man. If they're not
going to acknowledge
facts, you can't change them.
Yeah. So you sent me some photos today about some residual stuff left over from the back 40 race that took place a few weeks ago. On one of the trailheads. Yeah, it looks like Mardi Gras out on these trailheads. And apparently the back 40 racers and their supporters, they like to decorate, but they don't like to clean up. So this stuff has been out here for several weeks. It's a bunch of garland. Hopefully you guys can see it. This is a video that Mark took.
That's right off Trafalgar right there. I mean, man, just... I get you racing and what have you, but when it's over, you got to clean up.
That goes a ways down there, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the Mardi Gras beads, they're not biodegradable. So hopefully someone will see this and understand. Maybe it's just an innocent mistake, but they've been up there for well over 2 weeks now. Just clean up after yourself. Let's leave the nature, leave it natural, man, and not have all that garbage in there,
Yeah, yeah. Clean up after yourself, you dirty little hamsters. All right, now, I mean, for real, man. Like, we don't mind you coming and playing in our woods, man, but clean up after yourself, you dirty little hamsters. Yeah. It's all over the place out there, So
yeah,
I get it. I wish,
like I said, I really don't care the race you put that up. That's fine, man. But have the common courtesy to take it off when you're done. That's all.
Yep.
And it might have been an innocent mistake. And hopefully, if anybody knows about it, please forward them this and have it cleaned up. We'd appreciate it.
Yeah. I agree, man. You know, it's one thing to play, man, but it's you know, you clean up as you go, or when you're done, you clean up.
Yep, totally agree with you, man. So what do you want to hit on there?
Well,
Twitter,
if you want to go
Twitter.
into the Twitter sphere discussion, we can do that. And I just want to say, you know, we talked about censorship. We've talked about it multiple times on this show, and the reason that we started this show is because we see a concerted effort with people in this community to control narratives and silence dissenting opinions. And you know, we even discussed it last night with you know, public shaming of a public elected leader is not authorized in some Bella Vista neighborhood groups on the neighborhood app, which I unequivocally disagree with that. You should be able to call out public officials as long as you're not using profanity and belligerent, you know, obscenities. So, I'm going to keep on shaming on. You know, for real. That should be a T-shirt, man. Keep on shaming on. Yeah, we'll make sure we get that one on the store when it opens up. But you know, Twitter, you know, they've been under this microscope for a while, ever since Elon bought it. He probably even beforehand when they silenced the Hunter Biden laptop post, and that was New York Post that got silenced. But on top of that, they silenced a sitting president and many other people who had you know, information to say that didn't tote the narrative. And now that stuff's starting to come to light, now that they have new ownership, and the world is melting down over Elon taking over Twitter. And you have to wonder why. And it's probably because there's some bad stuff that will be exposed. And now they have this term called the Twitter files, right? That's what the news is calling it, the Twitter files. So there's a couple of news articles out there. I will go ahead and pull up one on Rumble. This is going to be from Tucker Carlson. I love Tucker Carlson, by the way. The guy just, I don't know, he cracks me up. It's entertainment, but he also cracks me up. If you're not a Tucker Carlson fan, I apologize, but we're still going to roll this beautiful bean footage because, well, that's what we do. We got a chat comment here. I do not think shaming is a good term. I think free to disagree is better, more civil. To shame a person is like telling a woman to calm down when she's furious about something. Well, usually I say, okay, I hear you, but can you go make me a sandwich? You know, no, just kidding. Calm down, go make me a sandwich, okay? No, the term that being used of shaming is whenever you call out somebody for bad behavior. That's the term they use to justify bringing down your post. Right. And I don't think that that's an appropriate term. That's having the moral courage to call somebody out on their BS. Right? Right. No passes here, baby. None. That being said, hey, you know, I could use a sandwich. No, I'm just kidding. Sally's going to kick my butt. This is the Twitter files, the biggest First Amendment violation in modern history.
Censorship, including the unlawful, the illegal censorship of American citizens at the direction of the U.S. government. Well, tonight, less than an hour ago, Musk began to make good on that promise. Twitter shared a trove of internal documents with Matt Taibbi of Substack. Those documents are coming out again as we speak. And what they prove so far is very serious. Those documents show a systemic violation of the First Amendment, the largest example of that in modern history. These documents show that, among other things, political officials in the Democratic National Committee were directing censorship at Twitter ahead of the 2020 election.
Dirty.
One Twitter official wrote on October 24th, 2020, that he had received, quote, an additional report from the DNC. So the DNC was telling Twitter what to pull off the site, and Twitter was complying. Next morning, to prove it, a Twitter official confirmed the post had been deleted. I grabbed the first one, that Twitter employee wrote. Twitter is also following instructions directly from the Biden campaign in the final days of the presidential campaign. One of the documents proves that officials on the Biden team routinely directed Twitter to remove posts that reflected poorly on Joe Biden. Quote, more to review from the Biden team, read one internal email from a Twitter employee just days before the 2020 election. That email included a list of several Twitter accounts that had criticized Joe Biden. The reply, quote, handled. We just checked. Now,
Wow.
those accounts remain suspended today.
It's chilling, man.
So
Chilling.
Twitter was...
Isn't this what dictators do?
Yeah.
Isn't this what you see before, like,
Well, democracy's destroyed.
historically, what I'm saying is historically, when you start seeing people's voices being silenced, what comes next? Typically in historical patterns.
Yeah, you don't want to know what comes next.
Right. Genocide.
Yeah.
So let's see. We've got a couple more comments. Donna Hutchinson, she said, Emily Guffin is the city's trail master. It is a salaried position. Has anyone informed her of the trash left behind by the bikers after Mardi Gras party? No, I don't. Well, I don't know. We just, we've noticed it, and it's been photographed now and videoed, and that would be the next step, is to contact them. NWA Exchange here again, calling out some stuff that needs to be corrected. I would think that with as many volunteer groups that they have, somebody would be, following up on the trail status after they, complete the race, but apparently that's not happening. It's just party with no follow through.
Permanently censoring users at the request of the DNC and the Biden campaign. That is new. Many suspected it. Now it has been absolutely confirmed by internal documents. And of course, the New York Post Twitter account was banned. Why? Because they had a story that might have changed the outcome of the 2020 election, and Twitter knew that perfectly well. They had accurate information about Hunter Biden's laptop. The Post reporting directly implicated Joe Biden and the Biden family in an ongoing scheme to sell influence, to leverage Biden's job as a government official, to sell the prestige and the power of the U.S. government to China and Ukraine.
China!
That scheme, that ongoing scheme that unfolded over years, made the Biden family millions of dollars. 10% of that money was reserved, as you know, for the big guy, meaning Joe Biden. So that was information that might have changed the outcome of the election. And that's precisely why Twitter prevented its users from reading it. Twitter went so far as to block its users from privately sharing the New York Post story on Twitter direct message.
He said something about, this is information that probably would have changed the outcome of the election, though. At this point, I don't think so. There are so many people who are filled with piss and vinegar and just hate.
Yeah.
Even how many years later, people are still filled with hate for President Donald J. Trump, that even in mentioning his name, just triggers people.
Right.
And so I don't think really, you could have told him that this guy, did some of the, that he was Dahmer, man, and they'd be like, let's vote for him anyway because he's not Donald Trump, right? That's the sad thing, man. Is like people have lost the ability to actually use any critical thinking skills whatsoever,
Right.
And so I get that they say, well, this could have and probably would have. But let's be real. We just got a bunch of people who are filled with hate,
Well, it's brainwashing, right? It's brainwashing.
It's indoctrination and brainwashing, and they're indoctrinated and brought up to hate, political opponents so much that they will jail them and do misdeeds against them just to get their way.
Right.
As we see with a lot of the misinformation flying around in our local community, all the lies being spread about a mayoral candidate right now, Yeah. So it's underhanded. It's dirty, underhanded stuff. And you're right. We know exactly who's doing it. We've got it narrowed down to several key people. And all I got to say is keep on. You'll get what you deserve one day.
Imagine how good they could do if they channeled all that anger into another direction, having a positive influence on the community. Probably could really excel. They spent a lot of time sending out propaganda and lies. It's just
I agree.
Misused,
So anyone attempting to share the story about Hunter Biden's laptop was told it was unsafe. Now, that measure
I remember when they did that too. Whenever you remember when they said when the WikiLeaks stuff came out, right? And they were like, You're not allowed to go to the WikiLeaks. We are because we're media, but you shouldn't go there. You're going to end up on an FBI watch list if you go there and da-da-da. This is classified documents. You remember that? Yeah. They were like fearing everybody to going and reading this information themselves, right?
Right.
So, again, it's control.
Users from sharing information privately is something that Twitter reserves in normal circumstances only in the most extreme cases, Taibbi writes, like stopping the transmission of child pornography. But in this case, information that might have hurt Joe Biden's chances of becoming president were invoked. And they were applied even to the sitting president's press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany. Internally, Taibbi writes, quote, the decision was made at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal policy and trust, right? Jaya Gotti playing a key role. All suspected, now confirmed. Now, in public, Twitter and its many allies and the rest of the media claimed that the New York Post story violated the hacked materials policy that Twitter had on its books. But internally at Twitter, everyone understood that was just a pretext. The laptop had not been hacked, and it wasn't of Russian origin. And by the way, as of right now, it's 8:04 Eastern Time. There is no evidence in this ongoing thread from Matt Taibbi that Twitter had received confirmation from the U.S. government even that the laptop was fake or from Russia. They just made it up.
Yeah.
According to Taibbi, one official...
Okay, I mean, like, I really think about the people censoring my posts over on Nextdoor. They probably moonlight for Twitter before all of this stuff happened, right? I mean, because they allow their personal views to affect what their actual duties are, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, you know, I don't really know what the remedy is for this, man. I really don't, other than more checks and balances and maybe control systems in place to prevent somebody from doing this, right? But this is a problem across this nation with big tech companies, corporations, everything else, right? You say something that goes against the grain, you're going to suffer the consequences for it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I think we all know that Twitter's not the only one out there that's suppressing information.
Right, yeah. Facebook's definitely doing it. We see it all the time, you know. We see our numbers change on a daily basis, you know.
Right.
Data doesn't add up. But yet, hey, you can boost your post for $50 and reach X amount of people, but we can't confirm that because your numbers change on a daily basis. Right? Just saying.
That, quote, hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours, pretty much everyone at Twitter realized that wasn't going to hold, but no one had the guts to reverse it.
Didn't it turn to a matter of national security?
Quote, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this, the laptop story, as unsafe. Twitter's former head of trust and safety, UL Roth, explained that Twitter had to censor the story so that Donald Trump would not be reelected president.
There you go.
Quote, the policy basis is hacked material, though, as discussed, this is an emerging situation where the facts remain unclear. Given the severe risks here and the lessons of 2016, meaning Trump could get elected, we're erring on the side of including a warning and preventing this content from being amplified. Now, this played out to some extent in public. Now we know what was happening within Twitter. But the whole country knew that something was being censored.
The thing that ticked me off the most is how many people were like, they could justify, removing of these news stories, justify silencing a sitting president, justify deplatforming,
they cheered.
Parler app, right? They just. Like it was a concerted effort to shut down conservative voices.
See, this is how sad this is they see you go after a sitting president, even when he was out of office, you're still going after him. You know, the DOJ, the FBI,
everything that's happening right now is unprecedented, you know?
Yeah, they all were weaponized against him. So here's my thoughts with this. It basically comes down, if they're going to do that to a sitting president, one that leaves the office, it can happen to anybody tomorrow. Me, you, anybody.
Yeah.
So
we have a dissenting opinion over here at the NWA
you
Exchange
should
podcast.
Be scared shit. You know what I mean? You should be scared. seeing what's happening.
You
now.
should have
That
a pucker
scare you.
factor. You should really have a pucker factor, man,
Right.
because
Right.
you know, the tide is. I mean, this continues, and people keep on turning a blind eye to it and say, "Well, it's not impacted me." Don't worry, there'll be a time when they come after you. There will be a
Right.
time, and there ain't gonna be nobody around to stand up for you. So start abiding by the Constitution. Start being a better
We'll have
American.
They'll have 7 of them dark Suburbans pull up and then blast your front door open and drag you out of your bed.
Well, speaking of several dark Suburbans, Wednesday, old Hillary Clinton was in town, right? Speaking over at the Crystal Bridges. So
Hot speaker, man. I bet everybody's looking to bring her in, man. Huh?
I wonder what the
mackerel.
turnout of like that was, man. Like, I mean, like, given what we know now, after the whole Epstein thing, Ghislaine Maxwell, all that, right? And just the Russiagate and the dossier and all that. I mean, and it even goes back to, like, for me, it really goes back to Benghazi, right? Being a soldier, man, and watching what those guys went through with Benghazi, and then like her lack of empathy. I mean, like, this was just a total crap show, but yet nobody held anybody accountable, right?
Yeah, they died. What difference does it make, Chris?
Yeah. At this point, what difference does it make? Well,
left for what? Those guys on the
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd be curious to see who bought tickets and who actually was going and attending that in our community.
I wonder who greenlit that. I mean, the optics on that are just horrendous, man.
I mean, like, who supports that at this point, right? And that family at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
you have to question the people that support that, dude. You really have to question the people that are supporting that person.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I have nothing to hear from that individual. Nothing.
Yeah, when I saw that, I didn't even think that was legitimate. And then I was like, they really did bring her in. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I was just like, that is just insane to me.
Yeah, that's what 8 miles away, man. Coming to a neighborhood near you, y'all. Coming, just saying. Be careful with the company you keep.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. There's another Rumble video on this. I mean, I could play this whole thing. We'll probably catch a copyright strike if we do. That's why I'm pausing, by the way. So sorry, y'all. I'm pausing so that we don't catch a copyright strike. Because that's the way it's. Liz Cheney's going to speak on the 19th. Sadly, it's sold out. Who Liz? Like, why would Liz Cheney? Like, you see what's being brought in from people with money to our. I mean, like, you wonder where this weird influence is coming from. Start looking in your backyard.
Yeah.
Start looking.
Doing here on Rumble.
This is Glenn Greenwald. He's talking about some of this stuff as well over on Rumble.
The free speech alternative to YouTube that will air every night, Monday through Friday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. We are doing a live broadcast this evening in order to explore the meaning of this extraordinary new reporting from the journalist Matt Taibbi, who has obtained, presumably from the new Twitter owner Elon Musk, a wide range of documents that had previously been from Twitter's.
Okay, I can't play this. I can't listen to this guy. I just can't listen to this guy.
Glenn's the one that broke the Edward Snowden.
I will download this and then I will run it through an audio processor so my eardrums aren't getting blown out because he's screaming at me.
I don't know where he is. He travels all over the world, man. But I was just, when I brought up Edward Snowden, I was just thinking all the stuff that he was talking about is all coming to fruition, man.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that.
Well, it is. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
That guy's been labeled as a domestic terrorist, and basically, he's done. He did get his citizenship, though, right? He got citizenship over in Russia, so now he can.
Oh, he can.
Yes,
well,
yeah.
It's sad, man. It's sad.
I would call him a whistleblower, man. I don't agree 100% agree with the way that he went about it, right? But I mean, when you're put between a rock and a hard spot, what do you do, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you think that if he would have went through the official process and blew the whistle on that he would be alive? Probably not, man.
No. He would have made it stateside for a little bit, and they would have accidentally had some issues.
Yeah. Not saying I support anybody going and doing that either. I'm not a sympathizer or anything like that. I'm just saying, that's a very, that's why it's important for checks and balances on any system that is ripe for abuse and fraud. Period.
Yeah, for sure.
So we talked about Twitter. We talked about that. We're having our drinks, right? Cheers, by the way, sir. Cheers. Sipping Saturday.
Cheers to you, brother.
Cheers to y'all at home too. Hopefully you guys are drinking your glass of wine or your adult beverage or your apple cider. I don't know what you guys drink. Tell us what you drink in the chat. What do you drink? That being said, we are going to go back and remember the phone lines are open. We are going to take a Q&A for a little bit tonight. Tomorrow we will get back hot and heavy on the campaign stuff. Our general reminders are is to do your research. Check your ballot. Engage other people in the community to go and vote. And if you're like we are, vote Randy Murray.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Get everybody out to vote. We need a huge turnout here, and we need a new mayor.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, man. With the amount of people parroting this BS false narrative regarding the campaign financing stuff, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little worried, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They push propaganda, and people start to believe what they see, and that's what concerns me. Hopefully, they can educate themselves and understand that it's just propaganda people are pushing out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many outlets. Information is coming out, and you're catching a lot of it and nipping it in the bud. But then these people are verbally going out of their way to defame people, and it's just wrong, man. It's just the wrong thing. Even people that lost in the race are engaged in this process, which is even worse, man.
Oh, you mean the people that are in the same club as the candidate that they're supporting, right? Yeah.
That's a shame.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about the Bella Vista Foundation and an email that was sent out spammy in a comment that was posted on social media, which is full of blatant lies. And they're in the same club, So do your research on these people. And if you haven't watched yesterday's live, I'd encourage you to go do it. We've been trying to drop those down to about an hour, just so it's easier to consume. But yeah, yesterday I was in a different mindset on some of this stuff, man, just due to the asinine interactions I've been dealing with some people who failed to listen to, facts or logic.
Well, and they didn't live what we lived. You know what I mean? Yeah. They can't wrap their heads around what was actually going on, And when you start seeing that, then you see people just blowing it off, thinking it's a joke. And the reality of it, it was insane.
It wasn't a joke. Wasn't a joke by any means.
I mean, you had the governor involved, you had state senators involved. Hell, it went worldwide.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how big this thing got,
Yeah. Yeah.
And even with that, you're still sucking that crap in, So I ain't going to get any more of it. And I just, I understand that I can understand why you got upset over it. I get it, man. I totally get it, because I lived what you were living, And a lot of people out here did the same thing. And, people gotta, understand what happened. Educate yourself before you make it. You just pop off.
Well, and with the turnover of people, we've had a lot of people move to this community that really don't understand the history of Bella Vista. I think it was Wendy said that she moved here in 2019, right? Well, the fire was already out in 2019, right. And so, people's memories. Humans have short memories. Most humans, I'll say, have short memories. I got one like an elephant. So, I'm very good at cataloging information and being able to recall it.
Right. Yeah. I can confirm that, man.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. You're like, what was that movie? Where they said this? I'm like, it was this. So. So it looks like Sally says she's drinking water. Well, there's no fun in that on Sippin' Saturday. To each their own. To each their own.
Yeah.
Are you? She's kind of square, isn't she?
Yeah.
I need a sandwich. She's gonna kick my butt.
I wonder how her dog's doing, man. Speaking of dogs, her new dog. What's the name of him? Brutus.
I got another Bandit. Bandit is her new dog.
Yeah.
The fact that these huge companies can just remove anyone and don't even need a reason when they control a market share of several billion people in Facebook's case, it's a huge issue. You're absolutely right. And the thing is
who made that statement?
These Ryan did. These companies all were built off of government subsidies and stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
They benefited from some public resources to get as big as they are because they were, this is the new town square, right? This is the new freedom of speech platform. This is why we should get subsidized and for expansion because this is infrastructure. Blah 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 blah. Right. Now look what they're doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, and plus they donated. That's the thing. It's a slippery slope. When you can reach 2.5 billion people, maybe even 3 billion people, I think is what they were bringing in at one time.
Yeah.
You only got 8 billion people in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you can control a lot of things. So. But I mean, the donations and all that, they do favors, right?
the system, when it was in its baby phases, probably wasn't even intended to be used like this, right? I mean, think about that. What you just said, right? There is no more government cover-ups if this system is operating the way that it needs to operate, right?
Right.
Because somebody can push a button, type a statement, push a button, and half of the free world reads it. It spreads like wildfire. That's why they have the term viral, right?
Right.
But it's been corrupt. It's been utilized by one party it's been weaponized, basically. I'm not gonna say utilized, it's been weaponized.
Right. But you look at but it's changed. You're right. I mean, it's how people consume information, right? I sent you that text on the amount of people that are the ratings and how many people are viewing, regular national TV now. Networks, nothing. It's nothing. People are consuming tons of content off social media pages.
Yep.
Now, the good thing about it is the independent guys, the legitimate guys are rolled over into Substack and are doing their independent stuff because they know they can't be controlled, but they still got to sell their content, right? They still got to. They still got
to build that following, and how do you do that on those? Like, the whole thing. I think whenever Trump was kicked off Twitter was like, well, conservatives don't like it, then build your own platform. Well, then you look at what happened with Parler, right? Right. Well, now you got to build your own data centers, and you got to build your own network circuits and your cloud hosting and all that, right?
Yeah, wasn't the death of that? That was wasn't it Amazon that took away the cloud or cloud?
Yeah, AWS, Amazon works. I think it's work. I think it's Amazon Workspace.
AWS, right?
Yeah, AWS. Basically, they just killed it. Like they were hosting them, and they're like, "We're done."
Yeah,
that's it, right? Pull the plug. Is that right? Not when you have contracts.
Yeah, but it was done for a reason,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The silence dissenting opinion. They used it under the guise of like, well, these people are violent and white supremacist. And remember, what was it? What was the term they used? White nationalism, I think, is what they use.
Yeah,
was the term, right? Like you're like having having pride about your country is now a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a bad thing.
Right.
Okay. Right. When did that happen? I don't know. I missed a memo on it, man.
Yeah, it's the same people that are trying to rewrite history, right?
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much. So who knows, man? It's clown world, man. It is clown world these days.
Yeah, for sure.
BC Warsaw, bottom line, it's a publicly traded company. You cannot have a federal government demanding companies suppress political information on one party line that has a material impact on an outcome of election. You go to prison for stuff like that. He didn't use the word stuff, by the way. For stuff like that. I agree 100%, right? I mean, basically this is the government suppressing, infringing on people's First Amendment rights through a third party proxy, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, the middleman. But at the end of the day, nobody's enforcing it, and that's why people, the middle class people, and people feel disenfranchised. They feel the system is stacked against them because it is. There's no ownership. There's no prosecuting. There's no people breaking laws, and rules for what is it? What's that saying?
Rules for thee, but not for me.
Right. I mean, that's how it is.
Yep.
And people are fed up with it. They don't believe in the system anymore, and that's when you have them. And it's the worst thing you could do is because you're removing yourself from the system and not voting, and that's exactly what they do want.
Yeah.
You got to keep engaged, man, and not give up. Keep on driving.
Like we said back in the day, man, during the summertime, keep on stanking on, man. I mean, just keep on stanking on, I mean, and here we are 4 years later and still stanking on, man. Still stanking on. There's still some doo-doo up in that city council, man. We gotta keep on working until we get that place cleaned up and we can actually start having some respect for the people in the chairs.
Yeah, for sure. Some people just don't have the best interests of the residents at hand, man. It's readily apparent. I mean,
but they're making endorsements, man. They're making endorsements,
Yeah.
for what it's worth, right?
Yeah. Right.
All I gotta say is, man, I wouldn't be wearing that Peter Christie endorsed me badge of honor. That's probably gonna hurt your numbers.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is, man. You want to ride that wave, man. Ride it.
Yeah, ride that big old maple leaf, man. Ride it. I just cracks me up whenever that guy is like, "Are you even American?" I just wanted to scream, "No, he's Canadian!" Oh my gosh, man, you gotta love it. But people are frustrated, man. People are frustrated, so and rightfully so. But use your big boy words, use your vernacular, use your creative abilities, and keep standing in the light of truth. Period.
Yeah, that's all you can do at the end of the day, man.
Can't believe we didn't get one phone call tonight, man. I'm bummed. I figured somebody would call in and cuss me out, but
Nope. They'll be on next door. Raging again in a few hours.
Yeah.
It's
How
like
dare you show their conversation on? Look, man. Look, it's on the internet, right? I'm just reading the internet for what it is.
Right.
You said it, not me.
Yeah, there was a time when people respected everybody's opinion, man. Those times are long gone, I guess.
Yep.
I still do, but. Well, many people don't.
I don't have to agree with your opinion. There's things that we don't agree about, but we just whatever, man. Let's move along. It's nothing. Right. I mean, it doesn't change my opinion of you. It doesn't change my opinion of anybody when they have a when they
agree to disagree, man.
Right. You're still a human being. You still have value to offer this world, right? And I'm still going to treat you as such until you don't treat me with the same respect. Then it's gloves off, right? It's all right. Well, we've been on for roughly 54 minutes. Oh, we got a phone call coming in, man. Here we go. Let's see. Is somebody going to cuss us out?
I'm hearing
Hey, it's Chris and Mark with NWA Exchange Podcast. Who do we got on?
Oh, it's Jerry.
It's our good friend Jerry.
Nobody cares.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us on Sipping Saturday. Mark's having some rum and eggnog. I'm having a Corona. It's my first drink in 3 weeks since the accident. So hopefully you're having something too, sir. Okay, well, maybe next time. Right? That's a good one. I mean, I know there's a lot going on with the STR stuff. They said they can't hear the phone for some reason. Let's make sure that we can get the phone up. Hold on, y'all. I'm working on it. While that's happening, can you go ahead and think of a question mark for Jerry, maybe in regards to the short-term rental?
Well, the short-term rentals. Well, I watched about 10 or 15 minutes of it, Jerry. I think it was Friday. I thought I caught it about 2:15 or 2:20. It seemed like a little heated in there, man. I saw Jim, and I can't think of the gal that was next to him, but they were going back and forth. I don't know if that's how Jim usually is. I seen him. He's kind of gruff, I guess is how we put it last time. But I don't know if they're making any headway. Are they making some headway there, Jerry? Right.
And
Right.
I know that whatever he's doing will be in what he thinks is the best interest to everyone. As you said, he's a little rough around the edges, but hey, that's
him.
That's him. And
Yeah.
Hey, that's like that's kind of like your relatives. You gotta take your friends and your coworkers. You gotta take them like you find them, not like you want them.
You can't trade them in, man.
No. But let me say this. I mean, I've been accused about it a couple of times, and maybe more than a couple of times, in that I don't want any regulations for the short-term rentals. That I'm just for open the doors and let it go. That's not correct. I have never said that I was against any short-term rental regulations.
Right.
But what I am for is some reasonable regulations and some common sense regulations. And I just feel like that what has been proposed is nothing more than a effort, a legalized effort, so to speak, to make the regulations on the short-term rentals so stringent, so strong that they can't operate, that they just have to basically close their doors because they can't meet all those regulations. For instance, the requirement for a certified septic tank inspection. Well, as I've said previously, people with the septic tank industry tell me that will cost at least $1,000 to do that, so that it's certified, and that the probability of you getting someone to certify that the septic tank meets all those requirements is probably slim and none, because nobody will want to do that. Nobody will really want to do that in-depth inspection that's required to make a certification.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because of liability, right, Jerry? I mean, at the end of the day, I remember you saying this, and I'm pretty familiar with the process and how it works. And you're right. I mean, you just get in the tank to get it pumped is $375. Now, like you said, if you have issues with lateral lines and they have to run cameras down it, they have to dig it up if there's issues. They have to put in more lateral lines. Yeah, you're talking over $1,000, maybe even more, or even worse, Jerry. They go and dig into it and damage the tank, or find out there's something worse. Then you got to replace everything. You might be in $4 or $5 grand.
You need more than that. I think you'd probably be closer marking the 10 grand range from what some of the prices that have been quoted recently. But and again, people have bought homes in Bella Vista. I mean, we know we have potentially some septic tank issues, and I think the statistics, the numbers that Eric Norton came up with are probably the best that I've heard.
Eric does a good job.
Potentially we got 5,000 septic tanks out there that are potentially a lot greater issue or problem than what the short-term rentals are causing. The only problem we have ever heard that we have had any complaints about the short-term rentals is the noise and the parking. That's it.
Yep.
That's been the extent.
And those are, I would say that those are probably isolated into certain areas as well, where we have a disgruntled neighbor, which is probably driving a lot of this charge from one specific council member. I do got one more question for you, Jerry, because this was put out in the Weekly Vista, and this kind of bothered me when I read it, because you and I have had conversations, but it says City Councilman Jerry Snow had agreed to do this group, citizens group, right? To do it during the October regular session, but during the work session held between the October and November regular sessions, a discussion on the STR committee revealed Snow was opting out and that he would be replaced by an individual who apparently had been doing the majority of the work, finding individuals to fill the committee of seats. That sounds to me like fake news right there, because the only thing that took place in the work session was an accusation towards you for your campaign contribution to candidate Murray. And I don't ever recall hearing you opt out of putting on this citizen community.
I did not opt out. As you heard, I was accused of not being able to be. I was accused of being biased, that I could not handle that committee or could not be involved and not be biased, which is further from the truth, as anyone that knows me. That's not correct. What I did was, as you said, one person, the short-term rental group, had already got all of the participants together, identified and together to participate in the conversation between the short-term rentals and the residents, non-rental owners. And one particular person was supposed to line up those non-resident or non-STR owners to be on the committee. Mm-hmm. Well, as you heard, she bailed out, and it would appear from the statements made that a particular councilman was possibly involved in that, because he stated that this committee is not going to happen, is not going anyplace, not going to do anything. Well, as I said, she bailed out, so she decided not to participate. She decided not to get together those individuals that would be on the other side.
So are you saying that the story in the Weekly Vista is false, that you never opted out of being on this committee and you were basically forced out?
That's exactly what happened. Right. As you heard at the night that the other committee, the Councilman Wozniak's committee, was appointed, I asked, I said, so does this mean that my committee is is being canceled, and the mayor said, "No, you can have both. You can run both committees at the same time."
You were forced out, man.
That's ridiculous. I basically got forced out, which that's okay, because I've been told that what I said was that I was just going to let somebody else run it. No, what I said was I was going to let these people, that is both sides of the organization or both sides of the group, let them have their discussions. I was going to be there simply as an observer. And I was going to let them have their conversations without my input, without me interfering, without me expressing my opinions as to what they were discussing. I wanted them to discuss it among themselves without my interference. That was what I said. That's what I wanted to happen. But obviously it didn't. So
I tell you what, this author in the Weekly Vista, because this is
it's making up stuff.
Well, he did a hit piece the week of that work session on, with basically putting out a bunch of hoopla BS and all that. But now he's even at something as simple as this, he's got it wrong. Basically, now from the democratic process or the actual civil process that's supposed to take place, a councilman makes a baseless accusation, and you're kicked off what you actually started to formulate. It was originally your motion to put this together for an economic impact study, and you're booted off of it, off of one person making a baseless accusation. I would say that's problematic, that people can just tell a lie on our city council and get somebody removed from trying to do the will of the people.
Well, we know they got him removed because he threw that Trump card down with impact study, which was genius.
You can't say Trump card, okay? That somebody got triggered just when you said that, all right? Just saying that.
Okay. Hey, you know what? Here's what I look at, and I see all the time it's being exhausted into this group. Stacy's spending a lot of time. I've seen the content she's putting up there, and a lot of other people are engaged in it. And I think it's just a formality, man. I just believe that they're trying to pacify everybody by doing this. They've already got their minds made up what they're going to do. So, you know what I mean? I don't know how you feel about it, but.
How I feel about
just having them go in there and do it. I think they already know what they want to do. The rest of the committee. The rest of the city council.
I think that I think the council. I think Councilman Wozniak may come back with some good recommendations. I think his recommendation that he made the night of the meeting, and that there should be those that are in business or that have been in operation at a certain date should be grandfathered in. And he pointed out an excellent thing there in that he compared it to the white fence matter.
Right.
And the statement he made is that here these people are in operation, have been in operation for a period of time, and now then we're trying to come in and make them go back and do things that basically it's impossible for them to try to accomplish in a reasonable period of time. I mean, all the things that they want or that is being required with this ordinance. So,
again, I think it's a great idea. Wozniak's idea with the grandfather clause. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. So any new Airbnbs that come in will have to go through the regulation process. But I'm still not aboard, and I agree with you 110%. There's no reason for them to go in the back and have a septic tank certified. That's a responsibility of a homeowner, man. And you know what's going to happen? You just create more liability for everybody at the end of the day. There's just no need for it. And I think Jim said that too. It's two separate issues, man. They're two completely separate issues.
Well, the night of that meeting, I visited with the chairman of the planning commission, Daniel Ellis. He was there, and I visited with him as well as Miss Lucas, and he told both of us, and some of the other people sitting there also heard it. Said they heard him make a statement he made the statement to us that he was not concerned about the STRs. He had no issue with them, wasn't concerned about them because he had a couple down the street from his house. They were not any problem. But what he was concerned about was the septic issue, the septic tank issue, and he agreed with me that it did not need to be incorporated in this short-term rental ordinance, that it needed to be an issue of its own that covered the entire city.
Right.
And you go back and look at York Norton's his statistics, the information that he developed, and there is potential. I say maybe 5,000 houses in Bella Vista that maybe should really be examined. But
he did a really great job of putting together that data and showing the use his specific use cases and even in his peak times where he wasn't even coming close to his peak usage. And that levels out, every day. Every day that the house isn't hitting that peak usage, it levels out every day. And so you could have a high peak day that's still not even going over your your capacity, and it's really not creating an issue at all. And then on top of it, I think his peak usage, he actually had a water leak, is what he cited in his data. There was a public comment made on our stuff, and maybe you can speak to this, Jerry. It says, I think part of the confusion might have come from Mr. Snow's mention of a gentleman named Ricky Head taking a leadership type role on the committee. If memory serves, Mr. Head had a previous experience with similar issues in a different state. Can you speak to that comment, if there is anything to speak to that?
Mr. Head agreed to be the facilitator for the group. As I said, he was going to be the facilitator for the group to try to keep it in balance and keep it going, and let me simply sit back as an observer and to be there to answer any questions that the group might have. But Mr. Head has been the member of the city council in one of the Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs. He's also been a member of the planning commission in that same city. An outstanding gentleman with a tremendous amount of experience. And as I said, he graciously agreed to serve as a facilitator for this group.
It looks like the Wozniak group, there's a comment stated, the Wozniak group on Friday dropped the grandfather clause idea. I don't know why they would have done that.
Of course, I have no idea. I don't know. I had intending to attend the meeting on Friday, and then I had an appointment that I had been waiting on. It come to happen, and so I had to attend that appointment rather than go to that meeting.
Okay.
So here we go back to the septic thing, and let me give you a scenario here. Okay, I have an STR, right? I have an older home, 1975, 1978 home. Okay, back then they're mostly metal tanks. They're probably going to be about 750 gallon tank. No issues. You walk out, lateral lines are fine. They want it pumped every year, every 2 years. Okay. The shelf life on that tank's far gone. It's probably 50 years old. It's probably way past its prime.
Yeah, I don't
you're
know.
You're going to go in there.
It don't know you anything. It don't know you anything at that point.
But now you're going to create a situation because you're going to force someone to pump that, right? Even though there's not an issue with it, right? You're going to go and pump it. You know what's going to happen? The tank's going to collapse. You're damn right it's going to collapse. Then they're going to sue. They're going to sue the city. They're going to sue everybody because now you got a situation where you don't even have a functional system anymore. You follow me? That's what I'm trying to educate people with. Yeah, nobody wants to listen.
The old outages, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Right.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Why did they want to? I can't wrap my head around why you want more liability. I mean, it's craziness to me. It's just, let me tell you. Go ahead.
Let me tell you what. Another councilman and I were working on a septic tank ordinance, and that we had not introduced, and that had not attempted to introduce because of all the other issues going on. Because we're getting down close to the first of the year, and which there's obviously going to be a change in administration. So we were basically waiting until after the first year to try to pursue this ordinance. But the general idea of the ordinance was that whenever a home is sold, then a septic tank inspection would be required.
Yeah,
and if
that's reasonable.
If that septic tank system if there was a problem with it was 50 years old whatever the issue might be from an inspection of that system,
right,
then it would be a matter between the city would not be requiring that homeowner to do anything to that system before the sale could be made.
But can I pause you for a moment? Can I pause you for a moment? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I want to pause you for a moment, right? So if a person buys a home and they don't actually have, and it's on septic, and they don't have the septic system inspected, then honestly, that's on them, right? Now I get the public health aspect of it, or there's going to be some smells in the neighborhood, etc. But that should be recommended and required from the realtor, right?
Yep.
But for the city to sit here and say you're going to get a septic inspection and everything else, we're still going back into that gray area where you shall you shall not use a serviceable septic system and connect to city sewer, right? Which is directly benefiting a private company. So, but in both of these scenarios, it directly benefits private companies.
Right. But let me finish. Can I finish?
Yes, sir. Yes, please go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
Okay. All right. That's all right. No, the intent of the ordinance would be that, again, when a house is sold or is in the process of being sold, then there would be a septic tank inspection required. And then it would, if the septic tank is determined to be good, bad, intermediate, whatever the issue might be, it would then become a matter between the buyer and the seller, not the city. It would be a matter between the buyer and the seller. If the buyer wanted to require that the seller do something with that septic system, that's between them. If the buyer wanted to require that, or if the buyer was totally agreeable or to accept the system, as I said, it's working perfectly, maybe 50 years old, but it's working perfectly. The buyer wants to accept it, then that's a matter between the buyer and the seller. Not the city's not going to would not require that person or that seller to do anything other than have an inspection that would give that buyer an idea as to what, and the problem being there is because so many people are moving in here. They are coming from areas that have no idea. They've never dealt with a septic system. They don't know to ask for any kind of inspection regarding the septic system unless the realtor takes that responsibility to say, you should have this system inspected before you make this purchase.
Right, but so I see that as a role. I see that as a role really for the board of realtors to take on, because they're the ones actually have they're on the hook for full disclosure, et cetera. Right, it's a contract between the realtor and seller. And Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, that they have to make full disclosures, and anything that they don't disclose, et cetera. Right, and then so as part of the realtor process, that could actually be handled from the board of realtors, and the government is not in the business of telling people what they can, like how to transfer property. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel that this is an active role that government should really be getting into when it comes to the transfer of property.
Person's planning on selling their house has to furnish a seller's property disclosure, which discloses everything on the property. Any number of things, could be anything. Is it septic? If there's been issues with it, whatever it may be, they need to disclose that legally to the buyer, right? Inspections, home inspections cover the exterior, interior, the plumbing, the electrical, what have you. They don't cover the septic. A real estate agent like myself, I always make sure I discuss that with them. I said, my suggestion is you have an inspection done on the septic tank. Make sure everything's good, lateral lines, and what have you. It's a separate cost. It's a totally separate transaction from the home inspection. So you have the home inspection, then you can do the septic inspection. Home inspectors they don't do that. That's not what they do, right? So I do have anybody I deal with, I always make sure that they understand that process, and I recommend they do that. Regardless.
How many people would you say take you up on your recommendation to get the septic inspected?
A majority of them do. Yeah, absolutely, a majority of them.
So again, from a realtor aspect, they should just be
the ones that haven't
practice.
are new homes, so they're under warranty and from the builder and what have you, and they still get a regular home inspection even with a new home, but they don't do the septic. Should they? I mean, if it's under a year inspection, they're going to cover it anyways. I'd keep my eye on it and see if there's any issues and address it with the builder, right? So
yeah, I think the problem lies is like, we have a finite. I mean, like, okay, if you guys are going to pass this, please give me a heads up so I can start Chris's septic. Actually, I'll actually name my company Chris's Shitter Inspection Services, right? Because I'm going to make a bundle, I mean, but see, that's kind of the problem when the government's mandating something, right? Versus allowing the board of realtors to, adopt this policy for houses with septic that, the recommendation needs to be made, or this is a procedure that needs to take place whenever you transfer a property with a septic unit, versus the government getting into, because we're in that pickle right now where like say if I was on septic and I bought my house and I replaced my septic unit and I turn around and sell my property next week, right? Well, there's sewer where I'm at. So technically, then I would either be paying the cost to convert it to sewer, or the buyer would be doing it, even though there's a fully serviceable, brand new septic unit in place. But with the policy as it stands right now, who's directly benefiting from the policy? Village Wastewater. Or Bob's or Chris's shitty inspection services. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying?
Well, we're in a different animal here too, Chris. You know this.
Yeah.
Bentonville, Rogers, Springdale, they're all on sewer, man. So this is a whole different animal up here you got to deal with. So it's a good conversation. I just think
I've even got a slogan, man. You poop it, we scoop it, man. I mean, like.
Yeah,
Well, I tell you what. Let me say this: if the board of realtors were to step up and say that, hey, we will do such as that we will do whatever is necessary to see that happens from a realtor standpoint, rather than the government being involved. Hey, I would be 100% agreeable to that.
Well, it wouldn't necessarily be the Board of Realtors. It'd be the Arkansas Real Estate Commission, and their lawyers would write it into the contract. Is what would have to happen. That's way above my pay grade, man. With lawyers, we don't have good track record with lawyers. I mean, I don't know enough about that side of the business to understand what's involved with it, but
state legislators could make that recommendation to the commission.
Yes, absolutely.
And so I think that would probably be the appropriate route, is to start petitioning state legislators, which a lot of state legislators are realtors on top of it, right? And developers.
Yeah, there's a few guys out there, that have a pretty good background in that and are a lot more well-versed than we are that could do that. Yeah, for sure. So, but most real estate agents, if they're doing right by their clients, will address those issues, right? So they're pretty much in a loop on it.
Well, keep in mind that if it were to become a legislative or state legislative matter, that if it was a proposed statute that would require, I'm sure that this contract, I don't know that for sure, but I'm sure this contract has some type of legal standing from the state standpoint.
It does.
So if it were to be changed, it's going to require an act of the legislature to make that happen. So by the time it's proposed, the bill is proposed, by the time it goes through committee, it goes through all the process, and it gets to the governor for signature, and then takes effect, you're talking about at least a year or more for that to happen.
I don't know. I don't know enough about that. I get where you're going with that. I understand.
You're right.
Oh, did we lose him? Or did my audio cut out? Oh, am I back?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I think the audio cut out for a moment or something right there. Hopefully we are back. Are we back in the chat?
Yeah.
No? Okay. I don't know what happened. It's that connection lost. Hopefully our people can still hear us. So hopefully we're still good. Sorry about that.
I don't have any. I've got you turned down on my volume so that there's not any feedback. So
okay, we're back. It says yeah, we're back. We're good. Sorry about that.
Where were we now?
The contract. So the contracts, the real estate contracts are written by the state of Arkansas lawyers. So it is. Go ahead.
So that would require some time, and so maybe I don't know. I recently was introducing an ordinance requiring a permit before a septic system was repaired or replaced, simply to be able to accumulate or assimilate the data of when a septic. We have no idea when a septic system fails. The health department's usually involved in that. There has to be a permit issued by this health department to repair, replace, or to redesign of a system. But we don't have any. We don't have that. We don't have access to that information. We have no way of extracting the information that they accumulate. So I was introducing an ordinance requiring a permit before a septic system is repaired or replaced. And that's a bit of redundancy there. I mean, it's a duplication of the state's effort, but it's the only way that could come up with that we could get that data so that we have some of the data regarding septic system failures. Are we having 1 a year, 5 a year, 25 a year? We have no idea how many systems are failing in the city of Bella Vista, and we're not going to have that information unless we can somehow accumulate it. But I pulled the introduction of that ordinance because I felt like it needed some additional work. If there was some way of obtaining that data other than requiring the installers, the people that would make those repairs, requiring them to get another permit, that just does not seem to be the responsible way of handling it, the common sense way of handling it. But until someone can give me some kind of a better idea of how we can get that info, I don't know how else to do it. But anyway, I pulled the ordinance for further consideration, for further working. So
okay. Wow.
It's good content, man. It's good information, but there's a lot of moving pieces there, and I'm for less regulation. If you can roll that up into the contract and what have you, maybe that's a better case. But again, I don't know how that process would work. Jim Dotson might know. What's the other gentleman there?
Bart Hester.
Bart Hester might know that. A few other guys that are builders around here would know that, would be able to facilitate that a lot better.
Yeah.
Well, if you noticed, Bart Hester is the object of some accusations himself. I mean, he's trying to influence the mayor so that all these lots that he has in Bella Vista, he'll be able to build a 4-bedroom house on them with a 2-bedroom section.
Yeah.
Right.
And
the mayor,
right.
The mayor is going to be able.
Look, I got a phone call today from my cousin who lives on the west side of Bella Vista, and he's out golfing, and he's like, "What's this I hear about Bart Hester donating $700,000 or $70,000 to Randy Murray's campaign?" I'm like, "What are you even talking about, man?" He's like, "Well, I just heard this." I was like, "You know that amount of money is just not even possible for a political donation, right?" And so I broke it down with him. But it's like, man, this false narrative is running rampant, man. And it's like, I don't even when I see it, I try to put a stop to it, man. But it is just so ridiculous. It's like, this thing is taken like on a life of its own, and it just keeps on morphing into like just insanity. Like, people can't even put two and two together. That's not legally possible to donate that amount of money.
So who's responsible for all of this? Who's responsible for all this false narrative that's being circulated? I find it hard to believe that John Flynn is behind it. I've known John Flynn for a number of years, and I've said and will say again, John Flynn is a good man. I don't have any doubt in my mind that John Flynn is an honest man. And I can tell you who the emails were spammed out from with this narrative. So the emails came out from Peggy L. and Linda L. You know both of these individuals. Oh yeah, yep.
And those were sent out to multiple people, spam emails, right? And this is the same type of conjecture I'm seeing from the same individuals flying around. There's also one other person, Danette, who is also parroting the narratives. And I've got it down to basically about, like I said, 3 to 5 people that I'm watching. And I see the same regurgitation, no matter how much education you try to put out there. They are continually trolling on people's accounts and their posts, spitting out and regurgitating the same crappy narrative. To the point where my cousin, like, he's golfing with a buddy and he's getting told this, and then he's like, well, you know what? I know somebody who would know. And that's my cousin who runs a podcast, and he's interviewed almost every political aspiring person in Bella Vista. So he called me. And I said, that is 100% BS malarkey, as Joe Biden would say. So, well, friends, hey, you can be a good guy, but you can have some crappy friends. No pun intended.
Oh yeah. I probably got 1 or 2, maybe 3. I can't, maybe 4.
Right.
But
Sally Bozert said, pretty soon we're going to need a permit to poop if, and I'm going to paraphrase a couple more on that. If the way that you have to have a permit for everything in Bella Vista continues.
Right. Yeah. She's not far off. You never know, man. I'm for all less regulation, but, it's a good conversation, Jerry. I think you make some valid points. I just don't know how we're going to get to that finish line, man. Because it would be out of our hands, and I get what you're saying.
One thing I want to point out before I go, and I'm going to let you guys have some peaceful conversation. Here's some more enlightening conversation than what I have provided to you. But the short-term rental, the people that are in the short-term rental group, they want to operate. They want to operate professionally. They want to operate. They want to be good neighbors to the people they are next door to. They want to be good citizens, and the houses or the residents that have had all the problems with the parties, the loud noise, the barking, those that have continually appeared to frequently be an issue, they have identified the person who manages those particular locations, and that person is a manager down in Fayetteville that handles again a number of short-term rental properties, and right. I've reached out to him myself trying to make some. I've talked to him in the past. And they've reached out to him. They've tried to contact him regarding these problem locations that he's managing. He won't respond to them. I tried to reach out to him, and he won't respond to me. So, you're back to you got to have some form of regulation, some form of requirement in order to be able to in order to be able to get the attention of people like that.
Or you have the police actually issue citations, and then as people are leaving their follow-up reviews saying, well, don't go to this house, if, because the police are going to show up if you get too loud, right? And that situation will work itself out organically, right? But the problem that I see, like the number one need right now is to have the police actually enforcing the current existing ordinances. Or at least coming up and knocking on the door and saying, hey, we've received complaints about noise, and if we have to come back out here tonight, somebody's going to get a ticket.
Right. And then you have the documentation, Chris. Then you can make the decision to revoke the license. I think Jurek said it before. There's a few bad apples. Anything you do, there's a few bad apples out there, right? You're going to eventually weed them out, man. They'll weed themselves out, The majority of people that I've seen speaking up at city councils, the short-term rental owners that are speaking up at city council meetings, they're speaking out to the city council because this directly impacts their retirement or their income or their dreams or what they want to do, right? But they're actually the ones that are going to be impacted by this sweeping legislation that Fowler wants to put through, which they have not even been a contributor to the complaints on. So again, we're going to punish the masses for the actions of a few because of some very vocal, and I see it as like 3 or 4 people in the community that are actually very concerned with this and vocal about it. Yeah, there's people concerned, but typically those concerns are, it's whataboutism, right? But they've never experienced a problem. It's just whataboutism. But, they all seem to be pretty reasonable people actually wanting to go and sit down and we're all for having a registration, right? They're not unreasonable people. The person that's being unreasonable in this whole process is Councilman Fowler. Right. Yeah, and the other thing too, and they talked about, and when we get the final list, is then they can put them in the police can get them, and they'll know, and they'll be able to document it when they get a call in. Hey, 23 Westwood. Wait a minute, we've been out here 4 times in the last 2 weeks. They've been cited for disorderly conduct, vandalism, parking issues, whatever it may be. Then that's when you say, to the owner, here you go. These are all the citations. We warned you. Now we got to revoke it. We have to revoke your license. Well, and that's why I think that having a registration or a permitting process is just a general guidance, right? So you can identify these, and now you have a person that you can hold accountable. Right. Isn't unreasonable. I think most people agree that that's not unreasonable. I think that was actually Randy Murray's stance whenever Doug Fowler said you don't support any regulations, right, at that work session. And he said, no, I'm all 100% for registration. We have a right to know who's operating these in our community, right? Anything beyond that, though, I think, needs to be, like he said, data-driven. Did we lose you, Jerry? Jerry fell asleep watching Law and Order.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a little confusing. I'm watching you on the screen here, and so I know there's a delay, but I see you talking, and I'm listening, or I'm trying to listen to what you're saying, but then you're not really talking to me. You
got to always turn that volume down whenever you're calling somebody live.
Well, I've got the volume down, but I can still see you though, and I see you talking. So I'm saying, okay.
Yeah, I don't
want to be talking. Don't want to interrupt. Don't want to interrupt your talk over you. Hey, gentlemen, as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. It's a pleasure to watch you. I hope more people become aware of the podcast and start joining to watch, because you are a true news source for Bella Vista. I mean, we don't have one, and you guys are bringing. You guys are offering one, so I hope more people start joining.
We appreciate that, Jerry.
Have a good evening, and again, carry on.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jerry.
We appreciate you. So see, ladies and gentlemen, it's not that hard to give us a call and talk with us. We are actually pretty reasonable, contrary to popular belief. we like talking with people, and just, I mean, this is healthy. This is how great ideas.
Good conversation.
This is how great ideas are made, though, is people coming together and talking about things versus silencing that dissenting opinion. I find it hilarious, though, that, I mean, well, I don't find it hilarious. I find it saddening, but I mean, like, I already knew this about the paper. Like, that's why I said, like, if you need extra TP, go ahead and keep that subscription to the Weekly Vista. Other than that, maybe you need some liners for your pet hamster boxes, because they're dirty little hamsters, right? But
well, it's a dying paper, right? It's
sad whenever there's like a blatant lie in here, and we just confirmed it with the councilman that was cited in the news story.
Right? Absolutely, yeah.
So,
all right, buddy. Well, I guess we ran this baby.
We did. We ran a little long, but you know what? That's okay. I think that we had some good dialogue. I appreciate everybody for sticking around. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk more and more, right? That's what we do over here. Talk more. So until tomorrow, we hope you have a wonderful night. It is Sippin' Saturday. Make sure you get your adult beverage of your choice, or your water if you're Sally. And Sally, I'm still waiting on my sandwich. But until then, we will see you tomorrow night.
Sally, take care of Brutus.
Brutus. It's Bandit. It's Bandit, man.
I know. I like getting her mad.
All right. Well,
Sally, we love you.
Yeah, we love all of our fans and our viewers, and we appreciate you. Remember to like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Get this information out there. It may be educational to somebody. Till tomorrow, have a wonderful evening. We'll see you.
Take it easy, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.
Everybody, come take my hand, come take my hand, walk this road together.